The industry itself is showing signs of improvement and progress in this area. Our survey that TransUnion conducted, it showed, however, still a lot of opportunity for improvement. So only about, of the 7,500 patients that we had surveyed, only 25% of them were receiving pretreatment cost estimates. So still a lot of room for improvement. It's a bit of a complicated situation where you have the provider and sort of their arrangements that they've made with the various payers, and then you have the patient themselves, the consumer, and then whatever kind of plan that they've elected, whether it's through their employer or they've gotten something off the exchange. And so all the terms are different, and sort of boiling all that up into the cost estimate, it's a bit complicated. But some of the things that we do with at TransUnion Healthcare is we provide some tools, like with our Clear IQ platform, to provide that transparency, and so they can sort of demystify sort of the cost to the patient, pre-treatment. I think the first thing providers can do is take an appreciation and have a greater awareness for how the billing process itself is affecting the overall patient satisfaction. There's a very high correlation between overall patient satisfaction. It's just not on the clinical experience that they're receiving, but equally as important is the billing experience. So one, gain a greater and deeper appreciation for how important that is into the process, and then two, go out and get some tools and bring some of this transparency and begin to have this dialogue with patients, because they're looking for it. And the consumer demand and patient demand is they want the pre-treatment cost transparency. And so I think if providers go out and find those tools that can help them deliver that information, that would be very helpful. The biggest benefit is going to be in that correlation with the consumer satisfaction, patient satisfaction. And word of mouth spreads pretty rapidly with patients, and they say, you call your friend or your family member and say, who do you recommend? And the higher those patient SAT scores are, the better it is going to be for that provider overall.
Mm-hmm. Great.
It was very surprising. So, like I said, we talked to 7,500 insured patients, and 2/3 of them were still very, very surprised by their medical bills, and half of them were still very confused upon receiving that information. So, the demand is there, the opportunity to improve is there, and it's still a very, very relevant issue here today. Education is a big part of it, so it's not just having the tools, but going through sort of the change management process, and the providers willing to have those conversations. The good news is that the patient wants it, and they're asking for it, and they're demanding it. And so by having the tools, you have the information, right? And so now it's incumbent upon them to do the training and education, and they have all the information now at their fingertips with products and tools similar to what we offer, and they can begin to have that dialogue. The patient experience is highly dependent on that billing experience, and so you can't just focus on the clinical outcome and the clinical side. And the billing process is very, very important, and the demand for pre-treatment cost transparency is very, very high. So the consumers want it, and the demand is growing, and so I think the time is ripe to do something about that.